Welcome, coaches of the Reddit Battle League and whoever else might be watching. This is Joseph, your coach of the Minnesota Eon Twins, here with a Week 4 battle recap of our RBL match against the Hawaiian Xurkitree. As you can see, they're led by TJG and Vade. So this is really looking forward to this match coming in because I've been with these guys in the RBL for, well, since the beginning. There's some of the obviously TJG is the creator of the league, and Vade was one of the first people to join along with myself and some others, including Grape, who we saw before. And yeah, so definitely looking forward. I've had quite a few battles with TJG throughout the seasons, and it's always a good time. He's still trying to get me back for our first match where I swept him with Scolipede, so we'll see how he repays me for that one here. And so we'll just get into the team. Hawaiian Xurkitree is their name, as you can see. And what's fun about that is they're part of the Blondito squad, and so they picked it out because it, abbreviates to HAXed, which is one of the main mantras of the Blondito squad, is bringing that HAXed into action. And we'll see how that plays out in this match because it's coming. So looking at the squad that they have here, Mew, Clefable, Gyarados, pretty good stuff. Mega Venusaur on my side does a good job countering the latter two, and so that makes it more than likely 100% that Mew is going to come to this match because my team doesn't do a great job against Psychic types, and so you can bet that Mew's probably going to be there. It's such a Swiss Army knife anyway that there's really not too many times when you're not going to have it along. Cobalion, Roserade, Zydog, all good stuff. Roserade is kind of fun to compare to Mega Venusaur. Obviously, totally different tiers, but it's cool to have those two on opposite sides. Zydog is fun. It's really powerful, but kind of glass cannon style, weak on the defenses, more just the fast offensive. So that's fun. You'll see what I do to counter that. He's got Blastoise. He's got Swellow with its improved, I guess, not really improved ability, but by default, Guts gets improved with the nerf to burn to only lose 6% health on each attack. Plus, it got a little bit of a boost in special attack, so that makes it pretty threatening. And looking, just at my team, it's probably more than likely going to come to this match, just because it does a good job as a flying type. Guts boosted Brave Bird is going to do a lot of damage to Mega Venusaur, no matter what, and that's going to be a big, kind of problem potentially for his team. So Swellow is more than likely going to show up in this match, I would think. Going down into his lower tier stuff, we've got Magmortar, we've got the Lantern, we've got the Rotom, we've got the Claydol. They are what they are. Lower tier picks for a reason. All good stuff. Just kind of looking at his team, he's got 3 water types. I've got a Mega Venusaur, so more than likely you're not going to see any of these. At least that's what I was thinking going into the match. Maybe Mega Gyarados. The other two don't make too much sense, though. So I'm expecting those two to, not really show up. Beyond that, I'm looking Swellow, Mew, probably going to be there. Clefable's always a good option, so I would expect it. Roserade may or may not. Cobalion probably will. We'll see. Zydog potentially, and then their TJG Vade, they're good at using their lower tier stuff, much better than myself anyway. So you could see these, but who knows? You never know what they're gonna bring. They got lots of options. They got good stuff. They have Clefable because it's TJG, and he's always gonna have Clefable or Azumarill or Victini. Those are kind of his 3. The way that I get put into my mold, those are the ones that I would put into his general squad that he'll always have. If you haven't noticed, I'm trying out something a little bit different. Usually I use just my regular headphone or my regular computer microphone, but I have these, nifty little iPhone headphones with the microphone in them, so I'm going to try them out. Hopefully they work. If the audio gets messed up, I'm not re-recording this, so it's just going to be what it is. Yeah, that's enough of a team recap for that. Let's see the team that I brought. Let's make sure that this is the right one. Yes, it is. Otherwise, I have to edit that out because I already started building for my next week match. But yeah, Start in, we're bringing Mega Venusaur. It does a good job against a whole chunk of his team, especially, we saw Clefable and Gyarados. We don't want to get swept by Gyarados, so we're bringing a defensive set. I can take, I don't know, even up to a +2 crunch from Mega Gyarados, just because I get immense bulk upon Mega Evolving. Yeah, it's kind of bulky defensive, a little bit of special defense investment. You can even take Psyshocks fairly well from the Mew, depending on what it's running. Nasty Plot would be a little bit of a trick, a little struggle. I haven't calced it recently, but I think I could take a +2 Nasty Plot from Nasty Plot Psyshock from full, since it's hitting on the physical side. But beyond that, it's not going to be too much fun. But yeah, that's that. Let's get into some of the more interesting things. I finally got a chance to bring Como-O. We're bringing a little bit of a setup sweeper. So we've got Dragon Dance, Outrage, Poison Jab, Sky Uppercut with the Dragonium Z. That's to get off a strong Outrage. And so for this, if I get to +1 with the, what is it? Some Drake, Devastating Drake. Is the Dragonium Z move. Devastating Drake at +1 Adamant Oko's a defensive Mew, which is what I was worried about a little bit, because being burned would pretty much put this into non-use. But the rest of this really does a good job against this team if I can get to +1. The Poison Jab against an unaware Clefable doesn't really do much. It does about 50% from Adamant, a little bit under that. So even the 2-hit KO on an unaware, we would have to rely on having Stealth Rocks up. Beyond that, Sky Uppercut Outrage is pretty good coverage actually against this team. And so, that could be a little bit beneficial, especially the Mega Gyarados can't do a lot to touch me. It would have to rely on Ice Fang, so that's kind of one of the key points to actually bringing Como-O, is that Dragon Fighting type matches up very well against his Mega Gyarados. Kind of gives us a little bit of the Flying Psychic weakness, which we kind of have to patch up with Gladys next. It's kind of our do-all for combating Flying and Psychic types. This week we're bringing, again, the Sweeping Weakness Policy set with Agility, Meteor Mash, Brick Break, and Stealth Rock. Meteor Mash, Brick Break is really all that I need to hit this team with, so Stealth Rock is just kind of a little bit of extra thrown in. Going between this and Bullet Punch, but with the Agility, hopefully you're not relying on the Bullet Punch to outspeed things. One thing that I did forget to check before the match is I should have paid more close attention to my speed, especially with the Swellow, because I think at +2, Swellow just slightly outspeeds Mega Metagross, because I think it hits something like, if it's, what would it be, like Timid or Jolly, hits somewhere in like the low 360s for speed at level 100, and as you can see, I'd only get up to about 152, so I would outspeed everything but that, which, they probably wouldn't expect to outspeed you anyway, and would hopefully go for a priority move, and even so, Swallow's not doing a ton to Mega Metagross. Or not Mega Metagross. I mean, I can call this one Mega Metagross because you can get up some massive power once you get the Weakness Policy boost. But it's definitely not Mega Metagross because we're lacking on that speed. That's what we need Agility for. But yeah, hopefully I can get that up at some point. I can take most super effective physical hits pretty fine, and some of the weaker super effective special attacks like a Flamethrower from Clefable, which would probably be unlikely, or an unboosted Shadow Ball from Mew, or unboosted Flamethrower from Mew. Don't really like taking an Earthquake from the Gyarados. We can take the Claydol, okay, can't take Magmortar because of the massive special attack. But we've got other options for that, such as Kieran, our choice banded, super powerful Entei. Looking at this, Sacred Fire and Extreme Speed is pretty much all you need on a choice banded Entei. There's really nothing that wants to take either of those two attacks. The rest are just kind of fill in for fun. And we just need enough speed to outspeed, I think, a modest modest max speed Roserade, I think is what that's for. I'd have to look at it again. What else? Does he have anything else that hits? Roserade's what, 92? I don't remember hits anything that hits 95. I think that's about it. It's really just, it hits things hard. We're not expecting the water types. If he brings the water types, we've got Venusaur, we've got even Athena can take them well. And so hopefully we can just hit a lot of things pretty hard with the Sacred Fire. Next up is Procni. I should learn how to pronounce that. A lot of these names come from Golden Sun summons and other things because it's, you know, the best game outside of Pokemon. Maybe right up there, slightly above Pokemon actually. But that's a story for another day. Bringing Timid just enough to outspeed Zydog. Trying again to run the physical acrobatic superpower knockoff U-turn set. This time with the red card to make sure, you know, that we'll actually get rid of that item and get our powered up acrobatics. This should be a nice lead for us. We can U-turn out against most anything. The red card gets us a little bit of switch advantage. It kind of acts as a tech against setup. Either from Clefable or from Mega Gyarados or from Mew, any of his top three, even something lower. That's not many of his lower things generally set up beyond Cobalion, so any of those four can, in a pinch, knock them out since I don't have a lot of speed on this team. It's kind of outspeed, it relies on priority. And I don't have any sort of phasing moves, so this is kind of my phasing move, kind of multi-purpose thing. And last but not least, we have Electric Field. This is kind of our specially defensive. Oh, this was the set that I brought. I kind of forgot exactly how I had it set up. So this is designed. I've used this one in a previous season to take on Clefable, and it takes it on really nicely with Acid Spray. You can knock down that special defense, and if it's setting up, you can really just kind of negate that completely. With an Assault Vest, pretty high special defense, a little bit of HP, and enough special attack to, I don't even know, I did a bunch of calcs and figured out a pretty good set, or a pretty good mix of values. To do, you know, an appropriate amount of damage to whatever I needed. Anyway, between this and Procni, I should learn how to pronounce that. We can get a little bit of a Volt turn going, which could be nice, and you know, hopefully it all works out. So that's enough about that. Let's get into the actual match for anyone who's still listening to this part. Now, right off the bat, we can see what he's bringing. A lot of lower tier stuff. So not bringing the Clefable, which is always, you know, a-okay with me. Not bringing the Mega Gyarados, which is a sigh of relief. But it's also kind of frightening because, you know, there's some sort of game plan going on here that you know, TJG and Vade have come up with, concocted to combat. Because, you know, the way that I play and, you know, the teams that I generally bring are not too unique and variable from week to week, which, you know, puts me on a little bit of back foot. But I don't know, because some of these guys are just so good, you can't leave them on the bench. Anyway, looking at his team, I feel pretty free to lead off with Tornadus. There's really, you know, nothing, no real downsides to that at all. I can U-turn out, I can superpower against a few things, or get off acrobatics or knock off. Yeah, it's really kind of a perfect lead. Let's go to a normal speed. I'll try and talk through this as much as possible. And let's get into the match. So yeah, I sort of lead off with Torn T, and he goes for... Alright, we're going to pause already. He leads off with Cobalion, so I'm like, alright, this is a good chance for me to just get off a nice solid superpower, see how much damage I do. I've got attack investment, and even so, I only do about 48%, so I figure he's probably, you know, got some kind of bulk investment into this. I didn't, you know, straight up calc it, but it took it fairly well, actually, for a super effective attack. I know Torn T doesn't have the highest base stats outside of speed. That's what makes, you know, speed and regenerator kind of its key things. So yeah, this is obviously some sort of lead, probably Stealth Rocks, Volt Switch, Iron Head, Superpower, maybe Substitute, Calm Mind, Taunt, something like that. It's kind of what I'm expecting anyway. But what happens is, it's Blondito, and there is the yellow magic right away at Thunder Wave. So of course, I try and go. He goes for Stealth Rocks. I go for the U-turn. I get paralyzed. So what stinks about this is, I would have gotten off. I'm -1 attack anyway, but just a little bit of a chip damage. 1-2%, 2-3. No, it's like 2-3% at least. It's what quad resisted minus attack against a fairly bulky Cobalion. Something like 2-3, 3-4%. I'm just counting it up. It's something, and pay attention to that number as we get later on into the battle. But the yellow magic works its powers right away. Nerfed my speed, missed out on an attack, and not much is going right in this initial part of the battle. He's got his leftovers. Here, a hard switch. I probably should have gone for the U-turn again, but whatever. This is what the play was going to make anyway, because I was expecting kind of the U-turn, or not the U-turn, but the Volt Switch. He goes into Burbalicious. He gets burned, so that clearly he's physical now. I'm not sure. He just wanted to get the burn off, I guess. I go for the hard switch instead of the Volt Switch, which works out for me into Gladys, and switch straight back out into Torn T, expecting the ground type attack, and he shows me the Earth Power followed by a Psychic. I don't remember if I calced it here, but he gets phased out by my red card, which is a little bit surprising. Go for knockoff on that turn, where maybe it would have been a little bit better for me to go for a U-turn, expecting the attack, kind of get a little bit of switch initiative. But the interesting thing about the knockoff is I don't knock off an item, so this is clearly has a Z move of some kind. So I'm thinking like, all right, we got like a Devastating Drake or a Tectonic Rage, something like that on this, and that's going to do a ton of damage. I don't really have anything that can switch in well onto 1,000 arrows, unfortunately. I could go straight out into Venusaur, but I didn't want to let him set up necessarily, because a Dragon Dance would be kind of dangerous, depending on what his moves are. I think this thing gets Zen Headbutt, which we find out, not during this match, but afterwards, that he was carrying Zen Headbutt with the Psychonium Z. That sounds a little bit better. Which would have been bad if he did actually have go for the Dragon Dance, even if I was defensive. Anyway, getting back into it, now I can go out into my Venusaur. He switches out, which is interesting that he didn't go for the Z move. I forget to click the Mega Evolution button before I click my attack, so I just Mega Evolve second turn, which actually kind of works out for me. I do a little bit less damage and get more health back on the second attack, so a little questionable there, but it doesn't make a big difference. So he goes out into this thing, and I switch out playing no Nasty Plot. Please don't be Nasty Plot, and he Nasty Plots. Looking at this, depending on what he has Psychic, which is bad news, because that means that my Venusaur can definitely not take an attack from this, so I'm going to have to rely on Priority, which I only have Extreme Speed Banded Entei for. So he takes that fairly well, takes me down. At this point, he's pretty much got the game won, but he doesn't know that, so I have to bait him into switching and expecting that I have Mega Punch, and I have to go for the agility on that play, just in case he does attack me, and then start setting up. So I really have to hope that he goes for an Earth Power here, but he knows that he can't KO me and is smart enough to not attack. I get the attack rage, which is huge. So huge. Actually, looking at the rest of his team, there's actually a fairly good chance that I can sweep his team with the +1 attack. As long as I can KO the Cobalion and not get paralyzed, I pretty much win 4-0. I outspeed the Mew. I can KO it from where it is. It's only at about 25%. The Zydog, all it can do, we saw that's not Scarfed, so the best that it can do really is an Extreme Speed, which is doing very minimal damage. The Swellow, Quick Attack, if it's physical, even Facade and Brave Bird aren't going to be doing a lot because of the massive kind of defensive bulk and resistance that goes along with Metagross. And so, yeah, it's literally, that attack range is pretty huge, and we're looking pretty good right now. It all comes down to, what happens here with Cobalion. And remember, again, we missed out on about 2 to 3% from not getting our U-turn off. And what does he live on? He lives on 3% from my break. And he gets off his Thunder Wave, which, there goes my counter sweep. He is going to wear me down now. I get paralyzed again. So here we go. We've got 2 turns where I've attacked through a paralysis. Both times I've gotten fully paralyzed. Here I make a questionable play about going for Stealth Rocks instead of just attacking to KO, because he's going to take me out with another close combat, and that gives him a chance to paralyze something. Probably should have just attacked, but really, at this point, the game is pretty much lost unless I can get off a sweep with Como O at some point. But that's not looking too likely right now. So what I can do, let's see, he goes out into Mew. I can go see if I can live. Yeah, I can live here. Attack through the paralysis. Nope. Again, so it's three full paras, and that could really, that could have made a big difference in the end game. I am able to, get up a Dragon Dance here, but I don't know. I guess it would have been nice. I probably would have gotten it down to a 2-0, or not a 2-0, to a 1-0. But he has quick attack anyway, and that would have taken me out, plus a Brave Bird. Yeah, because I would have had to Dragon Dance on this, which I probably wouldn't have taken. So I think it would have been probably a 1-0. But 3 full paras, not expecting the T-Wave right at the beginning really sunk me, and then getting parried really on that U-turn when I could have gotten just enough chip to really let me sweep with Metagross. It was really painful in the end, but TJG, Invade, and Blondito are hacks for a reason. It's always fun to play them, and I had a good time with this match. I wasn't really kicking myself too hard at the end because it is what it is, and I thought I played decently well, not great, but I was just kind of let down. I played it kind of how I had to. Didn't really see any misplays that I had throughout the match, beyond kind of that first turn anyway. But now we were at 2-1. Now we're sitting at 2-2. That's what we were at last season after 4 games, and we still made the playoffs just fine. So I'm thinking, we're still doing well. We're still the Minnesota Eon Twins. Aether's its own thing, Ether. And every battle can go any way. And so, it's the same for everyone that you're chasing as well. So there's always a chance that they'll lose and you can overtake someone ahead of you. But we're sitting pretty good. I think -1. We're going up against Stibe next week, which is always going to be a fun match. I'll recap the last couple weeks for anyone who's interested. Week 2, we had a long, drawn-out, stally battle with Albre. It was really good. I made a couple misplays on my side anyway. There was plenty of misplays on both. Probably misplays, I don't know. But a couple clear ones on my side where I could have taken some offensive momentum and probably swung it to at least like a 3 or 4-0 victory, but it ended up as a 4-4 with the Eon Twins winning at the timer. So a little bit disappointing on that, but take what we can get anyway. And then week 3 we're against Flouge. I was at a conference that week, so I wasn't really in the right mindset to play, and I hadn't done a ton of prep. But we still played a pretty decent match. He has a good team for taking down mine because he's got a solid wall-breaking core in not Buttery, in Mamoswine and Jirachi and Diggersby. So his Scarf Diggersby really caught me by surprise, along with Mamoswine and Jirachi, and he has Charizard X. So he's got like all the wall breakers that take down my kind of bulky, balanced team. So it was a little bit of a hard matchup, but he played really well, and I didn't play so hot. So we ended up going down, what was it, 2-0. So yeah, we've had a pair of 2-0 losses now. But that was good. I probably won't get a recording out for those two, but hopefully next week against Stade, my schedule is pretty back to normal. And that's probably enough for this video. If you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed it like always. People seem to enjoy my videos, so as long as people keep watching them and wondering if I'll make them again and asking, I guess I still will. I don't always find the most time to make videos, but I have a free evening from time to time. I'll sit down and record one. So I guess thanks for watching. This is Joseph of the Eon Twins signing off for now. Later days.